Of talk.
Women have to work twice, even thrice as hard for them to get things that just come so naturally to a lot of men who feel that leadership is their right.
We're in prisons for how many years?
For 6 years, 8 months.
Were you going to court from prisons then?
Yes, but before I started court, it took me 2 years.
Just being in prison?
Yes.
Without your case even started at all?
Confinement.
You were there?
Yeah.
Here on your number one station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
It's all talk and all talk on Nigerian's number one talk station.
This country needs a marshal, needs a sheriff.
In some particular societies, especially in my tradition, a woman is not allowed to inherit land.
Issues that get your attention.
This thing has been a carryover for the time of Jonathan.
Yeah.
And continue this billions.
Your views against all odds.
My word is that why those households, why are they not following up their job? Like
The intense conversation.
It has to be given to her now based on sentiment. These are some of the challenges that women go through on a daily basis.
Okay, bro.
And that is
All and more on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Let us dive into the heart of global affairs.
We go beyond the headlines and the real stories shaping our world.
Why paying more than $2 billion to have 1,000 Kenyan soldiers come to Haiti when we could use that money to train the police?
What you've done with your grief is actually to spread it and give it and turn it into the love.
This served Netanyahu because he didn't think Hamas would ever be a serious military threat.
Congo is a country with so much wealth. The people have been fighting to regain control.
From the corridors of power to the front lines of change, Borderline brings you in with analysis of the issues.
The US has power over them. Most of them will steal money from Haiti and invest in the US.
People who support Soko and my fight, over half of them will have a voter's card.
Sounds like Nigeria.
Join Ireti Bakare-Yusuf on Borderlines as she engages with policymakers and thought leaders.
Giving you perspectives and insights you won't find anywhere else.
Be part of the conversation. Join us live
Your voice matters on Borderlines as we explore the complexities.
every Friday at 4 p.m.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info,
Stay informed, stay engaged.
step into the conversation.
And good afternoon, Lagos, Nigeria, the diaspora, Israel, America, wherever you are listening to us from. Welcome to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. My name is Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. Ireti. Now, as you know, this show is 2 hours. First hour, I had promised you a review of 2024 last week. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it, but it wasn't for good reasons. We were able to actually explore the issues with ECOWAS, really explore it and spend all the time on it. So thank you all for contributing to that. It was excellent. It was fantastic. And some of you are still contributing to the clips that we post on social media. Okay, we are streaming live as usual on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3 Borderlines. Whatever you write, just put hashtag Borderlines Nigeria Info or Borderlines NI or hashtag Borderlines. So we are streaming live on YouTube. We are also on Instagram, Nigeria Info FM Lagos, and we are on Facebook, Nigeria Info FM 99.3. We are on Twitter, Nigeria Info FM Lagos. Please feel free to contribute there, especially whilst we're doing this review. Now, this first hour we're going to use for review. The second hour, I'm going to be having a guest with me, and you will know why later. He's written an article which I thought was quite interesting. We've invited him as a result of that article. He was in Israel for 5 days, so that's what he's written his article about. Azu Ishekwene, I think if I pronounce it right, I'm not sure. Forgive me if I haven't. Now, and he's a veteran journalist, so he's a colleague, and we're going to be having these conversations. So let's start. You're going to need to call me on 0201 277 0993, 0201 465 7190, 0809 597 5805 is the WhatsApp number where you can contribute just by sending messages, especially during this first hour, because it's about you and I. Okay, It's about us. That's it. No guest, just us. We're going to review. So let me take you back. 2024, a most exceptionally turbulent period. The year went from humanitarian crisis to climate catastrophes, and of course political upheavals, to economic instability. Our challenges were intertwined and monumental. Yet, amid the struggles, there were also sparks of hope, resilience, and the potential for transformative change. Stop calling, I haven't finished yet. The lines are already ringing. This year, or rather 2024, forced global leaders and citizens alike to rethink the future and the priorities that they drive. Now, some key events, of course, the Israel-Palestine genocide, which began when Hamas's incursion into Israel in October 7th, 2023. That escalated all of 2024. We covered it extensively on this show, so I would like you to comment on that, whatever comment you've always wanted to make that you didn't get a chance to make. The ongoing genocide remains one of the most devastating and complex conflicts in modern history. It has escalated into one of the deadliest rounds of violence in years, decades actually. According to the United Nations, over 20,000 deaths were reported, with more than 70% of casualties being civilians. Actually, it's 45,000 that we're at now. A percentage of those, around 17 to 20,000, are women and children. Humanitarian crisis continues to escalate up until now. So that's that. Then we go to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Remember, we had a guest, we did the Congo crisis here, 2 or 3 times last year. The DRC, the area that has huge, vast mineral wealth, yet remains in a state of crisis due to ongoing armed conflicts. The UN reports that over, and again I repeat, over 6.7 million people were displaced within the country, many of whom had to flee violence in the eastern region. The humanitarian impact on the ordinary citizens of Congo has been severe. 5.6 million people facing food insecurity, 1.5 million children suffering from malnutrition. Yet, despite attempts at peace accords, militia groups continue to control large swaths of the territory. Over 100 armed forces are active in eastern DRC, perpetuating instability. Remember, Rwanda, our guest even mentioned about Rwanda's complicity in this. The conflict has also led to severe human rights abuses, including sexual violence used as a weapon of war. You see, what happens is often in war, and it's in pretty much every war, women's bodies are weaponized as part of the violence of war. We are talking rape of women and children. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, continues to call for increased international support to mitigate the suffering of the displaced people. Now, the other crisis that we discussed was Afghanistan. Remember Afghanistan? Remember Trump left and Biden came in because Donald Trump, when he was president, he had agreed and signed that US and allied groups would get out of Afghanistan. When Biden came, it was in the first 6 months, if I remember, of Biden's administration. There was a sharp, it was really quite sharp, a sharp and shocking exit from Afghanistan, which led to lots of crises. We saw it live, we saw it on TV. Well, since then, of course, the Taliban took over. And what has since happened? The deterioration of women's rights. So in Afghanistan, we discussed about the time how the Taliban's policies towards women have grown increasingly oppressive. Remember, I had my guest here? In 2024, the Taliban imposed further restrictions, including prohibitions on women traveling without a male guardian and a ban on women seeking medical treatment without permission from a male relative. According to a report by UN Women, 99% of Afghan girls are out of school, and the humanitarian situation has worsened. Over 80 million people are currently in need of aid, with over half of Afghanistan's population facing extreme poverty. The country is in severe mental health crisis, particularly amongst women who have been subjected to years of repression. Despite global pressure, the Taliban regime remains defiant, making any path to progress for Afghan women uncertain. Who's going to help the Afghan people? Who is going to stand up to Taliban? Or should we just leave them? After all, it's their country. You've got to call me. The number is 0201-277-0993, 0201 4657-190, 0809-597-5805. Then we move to the United States. Remember the election? Remember Donald Trump getting, I think was he shot twice? There was an attempted assassination on him. Yes. Once at a rally, I think the other one at the golf course. 2024 was a pivotal year for the United States. Joe Biden was determined. He had said he would run again, even though he had domestic issues and international challenges, even though the majority of the world actually held U.S. responsible, specifically the Biden administration, for the genocide in Gaza because of how they supported Israel. Inflation was a key domestic issue. 6.6% inflation rate as of 2024. However, unemployment figures were good, so he thought he could ride on that. But on the international front, America's involvement in lead in Ukraine's defense against Russia under Biden administration continued to dominate discussions, and it still does today. The United States had spent over $100 billion in aid to Ukraine since the beginning of the war, and the U.S. remains engaged in the global fight for democracy, according to Biden. Meanwhile, domestically, Biden was also facing mounting pressure from both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democrats, of the political spectrum over his handling of economic challenges and foreign policy. As a result, right, so you had, remember, it was very polarizing. Donald Trump was coming back after being charged, I forget, over 30, I think, had been convicted of. But he was coming back. He ran again, and people thought he wouldn't win. People actually thought there is no way America is going to vote for a convicted felon. But America did. He ran again on his anti-immigration, quote unquote, some would call him racist. I'm not telling you what to call him, but certainly race-baiting rhetorics. He ran side by side. Remember, this is when we now saw Elon Musk being taking center stage in an American election, political election. Right-wing and fascist rhetoric ruled. But something critical also happened. A lot of black men were speaking pro-Donald Trump, pro-Republicans. Also, in addition to that, you had a percentage, and mostly African-American percentage, who were actually, they had been, they felt disenfranchised by the Democrats, who they had always voted for. Remember, the Democrats was always the African American party. But they felt that they were being used every time, that they don't do anything for them. So you had that going on. Of course, add to that the Muslim vote in places like Michigan, most of whom had relatives in Palestine and Gaza, who said, we are not going to vote for Kamala, who took over as Biden, as the candidate for the Democrats. Remember, when Joe Biden had the first debate with Trump, and clearly showed that something was very, very wrong, as a result of which Kamala took over. Kamala taking over, when she took over immediately, there were lots and lots and lots of, sort of positive response, positive. But the people in Michigan were still saying, look, we cannot vote for somebody, for a party who is complicit in the genocide of our relatives, the genocide in our country. And remember, Kamala Harris had the opportunity, right? She had the opportunity to actually go left or go right. When I say that, she at the Democratic, at the DNC, the convention, she invited parents of Israeli hostages on stage, but did not invite, despite their efforts, she did not invite anybody, Palestinian Americans, to come and speak. Anyway, Trump won. I'm running out of time, so I've got to get off so you guys can call. And so it got on and on and on. Then we had the war in Lebanon. Okay, and then we had ECOWAS. Now you can call me. Let's talk, and we'll begin to develop the rest. Some of you had been calling 0201-277-0993, 0201-465-7190, 0809-597-5805. What is going on? What are your thoughts on the events last year, which we covered here? Let's talk. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Can you turn your radio off, please?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. Hello. Okay, you can call back. Right. You have to make sure you turn off your radio when you call, please. All right? Let's not waste time. We don't have much time. We're actually running out of time because my next guest is here at 5 o'clock, and that's how fast things go. I'm coming to your calls now. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Happy New Year, Ireti Bakare-Yusuf.
Happy New Year. That's Okpayemi?
I'm Titi Lope.
Titi Lope, I beg your pardon, yes. Can you speak up a little, please?
You need me to speak up a little bit?
Yes, I need you to speak up. Yeah, I can hear you better.
Hear me better now?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Let me start with Senegal.
Yeah, you get 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, Senegal got to a point that was unprecedented in their democratic journey, at least for over a decade now.
Yes, we also covered Senegal. Thank you for reminding us of that.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
First of all, then the president said, he created a confusion of uncertainty in the political class, and I like the way the Council of the Ulamas, the Constitutional Court, all of them.
The wise men, they call them. Yes.
Yes. He rose up against one man who wanted to, roll back the democratic game. And the will of the people prevailed because there was a strong institution rather than what we have in some other places, like strong men.
Yeah.
And that was a big plus for Senegal. Yeah. Then I go to America. Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Almighty man. Elon Musk. And, what happened, the role he played in America, because of some of the problems he had with this regime, particularly concerning his companies, he lost so much money. And I'm going beyond America now. Last week there was a report in Germany. Election is coming in Germany, and there was an influence of Elon Musk again.
Yeah,
trying to instigate the far right people.
Yeah,
trying to switch. So the point is that
he's doing the same thing in the UK.
Yeah. So my point now is this: if Germany loses the next election, at least if the opposition comes on board.
You mean if the right wing win? The
yes,
DF,
yes, right.
I think they're called DFP or DFF or something like that.
If they come on board, what is the fate of Ukraine? And what is the fate of Ukraine? And we told you told this president, former comedian, that this is not the way to go. Sit down with your brother, sit down and talk.
But do you not think that Trump is going to be able to put a stop to that?
Trump is going to do something. Don't forget that Trump was only convicted because of what he told.
No. I'm saying that with regards to Ukraine, do you not think that Trump will have put a stop to that when it comes in on January 20th?
Trump is going to do what the business Trump is going to do. It's not going to be favorable to this guy, Ukraine. Given the background that, the only Trump was convicted because of Ukraine. Yeah. Don't forget that he told the Ukrainian ambassador to, indict Joe Biden. You get it now. And that was why they raised the flag up or interference and whatever. And the Nancy Pelosi-led Congress then impeached Trump. And that means that there has been history with Trump and Russia. Don't forget the former Mobile chair, who was the Secretary of State, all this information. So the truth is that I want people to learn. When people from outside your country push you, they'll push you to a place where at the end of the day, they will just leave you in the cold. And that is what is happening to Ukraine now.
Titi Lokpe, you make a very good point because I am reminded. No. I'm saying you make a very good point. I'm saying you make a very good point. You're making very good point.
So because then again, look at France. France. France is going through turmoil. They are losing their Senegalese input into the economy. The African input into the economy.
Côte d'Ivoire has asked them to go as of yesterday or 2 days ago.
So what is going to be the fate of NATO? If Germany goes, France goes, and America is not even supporting, what is the fate of NATO?
Thank you.
And that is it, that Ukraine, the decision made by, the president has really put them in this unprecedented calamity. I hope they get out of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Titi Lokpe. It's interesting. Titi Lokpe he makes a very good point, and I'm reminded of the discussions that happened at NATO before the war started, before Russia struck. Let me answer the calls first. Hello.
Evening, Sisiogi.
Evening, Emmanuel. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing well.
Go ahead.
My highlight for this year is
for 2024.
Is the genocide that continued in Gaza. And if you get to be honest with you, today I'm no longer moved into saying they should be ceasefire now.
Why?
Because there's a way something will happen over and over again, and then you won't even blink any longer. So, no problem. They should continue until this other side will find their grant. So because I discovered that in the world, as the world power moves, it could be you today, and then tomorrow it could be somebody else,
But Israel has always had power over Palestine. Well, for the last 76 years.
Controversy. If not, I wanted to
no. There's no controversy about it. Go ahead and speak.
So this is what I'm trying to say. At the point, it was a Babylonian empire. At the point, it was even this great ancient Benin kingdom. At the point, I believe they were world powers. Just that Africans do not have a record, to lay their hands upon. At the point, it was Egyptian. The Pharaoh and so on.
At one point, it was Ottoman that ruled all the area. Yes.
Yeah. So
correct.
Today, it's not about Israel. It's the USA.
USA.
So it is because they have an alliance, an ally in USA. That is why they are doing all this. Because remove USA out of their this thing, they will be overrun within 24 hours.
Absolutely.
So.
So what do you think the U.S. foreign policy should be then? Because U.S. foreign policy, Emmanuel, is that we will always stand by Israel, irrespective of, I'm paraphrasing it, irrespective of what Israel do. In actual fact, Biden said, and this is a quote, if there wasn't Israel, we would have to create it. And Nancy Pelosi has said, Israel's support is supporting Israel is unconditional. I paraphrase that.
That is what I'm saying. That I no longer care about saying they should be ceasefire now.
So what should they do?
What I'm looking forward to in the future is a day where US will no longer be a world power.
Right. So you're looking forward for a change of hegemony.
Yes, and then another world power will come, perhaps Russia. And then I'm sorry to say this, Israel should be overrun the way Gaza is overrun today. So that is on that. And then my second ally, I don't know if this is on our borderline show. This guy in Finland, Simon Epa, and then
it's not part of borderlines, no.
Yeah,
because that's domestic.
I just want to make a comment about
that's
that.
A domestic issue.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy he's taken into custody.
Right, but that's a domestic issue, so I don't want to go in there. Yeah, on borderlines we do international.
Yeah, thank you.
Right,
thank
so
you.
what are your expectations? What do you think? Would you have any predictions for this year, 2025?
For this year, I hope some people who are saying Trump is the friend of Putin are right. I just hope they are right.
Right, so you're hoping that Trump will stop the war, will put a stop to the war.
Yeah, because you know the grandstanding of Trump. If he wants to stand against you, he do it, without blinking. Except they are friends, that is when we have peace in the world. The world today is just looking for just like a gun, a keg of gunpowder. That is just waiting for a little spark. If they are not friends and they are not able to resolve what is happening, especially between Russia and Ukraine, in extension US, within the first 1 week or first 1 month, I don't think the world will have peace. Because when it begins like that and the war continues, you will begin to find alliance, China, North Korea, and then the people. And then we might have World War III in our hand. And the curiosity about it is that it will be polite, that somebody sends troops into your country, to fight war. Because today you no longer need troops in your country. In another country, in order to fight or win a war.
Thank you.
So I just hope there will be a friend in Putin and Trump. Either rightly or wrongly, I don't care. At least for the world to have peace for 2025.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you so much. Interesting. It's interesting. I did expect to get a call back from, the first two calls are Tito Lokwe and Emmanuel, who always call Borderlines. They are Borderlines contributors, and I thank them so much for their points of view. And it's interesting, so you can still call, by the way, because 020127709993, 020146579190, 0809597 is where you send your messages. At 5 o'clock my guest will be coming in, so we still have time right now. So here's the thing. When I said I'm reminded, the lines are ringing. I'll hold it. Hello. Oops. Can call back, the line cut off. What was that? Where was that? Right, so as I said, Titi Lokbe reminded me when he was talking of the discussions that were going on. Okay, sorry, I can't finish my sentence yet. I've got to go to the lines. Hello. Oh dear, I don't know why your lines keep cutting off, and yet we hear that the cost of using our networks might be going up, but that's not the discussion. The discussion right now is, what are your thoughts on the big global events that happened in 2024? Either one that I've mentioned, one that I haven't mentioned, either one that I've covered, one that we haven't covered on Borderlines. Those of you who listen to Borderlines, those of you who do, because what we did was to create this show because we knew that there were lots of Nigerians who are interested in foreign affairs, who are interested in global affairs, because what happens globally also inadvertently affects us at home. So whilst this station, 99.999999%, right, talks about domestic issues, this is the only show that is dedicated to global issues, be it Africa or beyond. I'm coming to your calls now. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, sorry. I wanted to remind you of something that came to my mind.
Yes, yes.
The female, the lady you brought from Haiti the other time, I think she stays in America, I wanted to bring her back to come and talk about the peace mission Kenya is spearheading there, and a lot of things that happened to that. Then true, recently in Haiti.
Which lady? Remind me. What did she talk about? We've had several ladies.
She talk about Haiti, how the Western world destroyed. Their country. How all the negative things they said about them is just about
which country?
Poverty,
which country?
Corruption.
Haiti.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to try and remember.
From there, and she spoke very well about what is happening there.
Okay.
About the gangsters, the gun running that is going on.
Yeah, we did. Yes, thank you.
Something happened that struck my mind. It's about how some people there were killing the elderly people. They call them witches like we have in Africa here.
Yes.
When the any calamity befall anybody, they so is that old man that bewitch me and that. So that happened about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks now. More than 90 people have been killed, and the United Nations also spoke about it.
Yeah.
Condemn it, and that is going on. I want you to bring her here whenever you have the opportunity to, so that you can talk about it and you can now see the similarities. Don't forget that they left from Africa, and some of the jars that we had in Africa, whether Nigeria, whether Burkina Faso, and other African countries, they took them there, and they still practice what they call voodoo there. So I want you to be interesting to have her here.
Okay. So you want us to talk more about Haiti? Okay, great. Thank you for that, Titilokwe. Thank you
very much.
Thank you. And that's what Titilokwe did. Is just giving us one task. He wants us to bring in. We're going to have to look back on who the lady was or get somebody else to come and talk about what's going on in Haiti. Because that's what we do on Borderlines. We highlight, educate, explore, analyze, and have guests to come and talk to us about global issues. So as I was saying, you can still call. Like I said, it's at 5 o'clock that my guest comes in. Do we have any messages yet? No? Do we have any WhatsApp messages yet? We do? Okay, let me just check. Right, we have Emmanuel Duyon. Borderlines, compliments, Ms. Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. You did well in 2024. Well, thank you. It's teamwork. It really is teamwork. There's a lot of us, and we have a new producer who has joined us. Her name is Mercy, and she's doing stuff. Thank you. Sharif is also part of the team. I've told you all before. Zainab is part of the Borderlines team. We have Olamide, we have Kenneth, and we have Tunde. I think that's everybody. And of course, the executive producer of Borderlines is our very own chairman of the organization, Tatiana. So let me come. So thank you for those compliments. I want everyone to emulate Senegal, to force our old guards to retire. Israel, Hamas, and Ukraine took large portion of the discussions in 2024. On USA, Trump will not be able to expel all illegal immigrants. I agree with you on that, and I've said that to people, especially Mexicans. Trump may reduce world fracas, but may not be able to stop rambles. No permanent friends, but permanent interest. Wishing every listener a wonderful 2025. That's Ayo. Thank you so much, Ayo. That's a really good message. I'm coming to your calls now. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Mr. Patrick. I'm calling from Post Ojo.
Go ahead, sir, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah, please, when are they going to hand over power to Donald Trump? I think this month.
January 20th.
20th, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Sister again.
Good evening, sir. What's your name? Oh, turn off your radio. What's your name?
It's up already. It's up.
Why am I sounding echoey to myself then? Okay, go ahead.
I'm in my car. In my car.
You have one of those funky cars, Abi. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Please, my take is this thing. Last time you discussed about the issue in Sudan. The killing of children, the rape and all that. I don't know. What measures have the Sudanese government or African Union and United Nations taken towards that?
Right.
Because that day I couldn't sleep. It was crazy. What I heard.
Yeah.
It was something that is unbearable.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Stay listening. So the Sudan war has been another devastating war. And again, women's bodies during that has been weaponized. By that I mean rape and everything, and displacement. Right now there are discussions going on because I think it's sort of exacerbated again very, very recently. However, one of the problems we've had on this show, remember I said to you, if only you knew the length, honestly, the length we go to be able to get these international guests. And sometimes just to get one guest, it may take about 15, 20 emails, letters. We keep going and going and going till they say yes. So Sudan is one of those that we haven't been able to get enough people. We got one person, but I actually want more. And I will do our very best. Mercy is listening. I know she's making notes. Mercy is our new producer. I know she's making notes, and we're frantically. You also said you want more conversation on Russia, Ukraine. We are working our very best to get some really, really strong experts in to come and talk to us. Let me go back and talk about what I kept wanting to say when Titi Lokwe reminded me. Remember, there was remember before the war, Ukraine war, you can still call, I don't mind. 0201-277-0993, 0201-465-7190, 0809-597-5805. Oh, before I forget, the other thing we would like you to do, and you can use this opportunity to do that, like the last caller just reminded me, he wants us to talk more on Sudan. He wants to learn more. Is there's a jingle that's currently playing. There's a post on our social media where we are asking if there is a topic, like Titi Lokwe just said, he wants Haiti. He wants us to do more on Haiti. If there is a topic you would like us to do, international, not domestic being Nigerian, that you would like us to explore, to touch on, to make it up, please, please, please. You can either post it on our social media handle, anywhere you see Borderlines, just write that, or you can say it now, right? Or send it as a WhatsApp. Okay, let me come to your calls. Hello. I need you to turn off your radio, please. Yes, turn off your radio, please. Hello.
Sorry about that.
No worries at all. No need to apologize. Don't worry. Go ahead. What's your name, please?
Emeka is my name from Satellite Town.
Emeka from Satellite Town. Go ahead.
Yes, you see, the entire conflict we discussed about last year.
Which one?
Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, and the environs. You see, it started me thinking of something. You see, these world bodies, the United Nations, how powerful have they been? How useful have they been to member nations? Because it goes without saying that they have failed in their covenants and objectives to member nations. Because if these wars can be protracted as they have been with human lives, imagine the amount of lives have been lost in Israel, in Palestine, in Yemen, in Syria, in Ukraine, in Russia. I think it's time for member nations to ask themselves, what is the use of the United Nations?
Well, what do you think? What do you think about the United Nations?
I think they are obsolete.
Sorry to interrupt you, because it's a good question. It's a good thing that you put up, because people are saying, is there any more point to the United Nations? And let me just take us back a little bit. Incidentally, we used to have the League of Gentlemen, which became which became the United Nations, and fundamentally part of the United Nations was, of course, what happened to the Israelis under to the Jews under Hitler. So go ahead.
Because if United Nations, with all its powers, cannot prevail on nations that are either committing genocide or killing one another to stop, then for me, it is pointless belonging to such organization. Because when you think of the UN, you also think of AU. You think of ECOWAS.
Yeah.
So this regional, sub-regional organization, of what importance are they to member nations? This is one question member nations should be asking themselves.
Well, should we also then be asking the same question of the ICC?
The lives have been lost
has reduced humanity to nothing. Reduced humanity to nothing. So we are in a very, very scary period of our lives. Where those organizations we've signed treaties to, we've had covenants with, can no longer live up to the obligations.
If I may ask you, go ahead, please finish your sentence.
Go on. No,
right.
go on.
Okay. If I may ask you, do you feel the same way about the ICC? I mean, the ICJ rather. Should we be signed up to them? Because Israel was ordered by the ICJ to halt the bombings in Gaza. They didn't listen. ICJ ruled that Israel is committing plausible genocide. They didn't listen. ICC issued a warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant. And America is threatening fire and brimstones. So the question then people are asking is, if it's not good, in fact, I remember Lindsay, what's his name of America? He said these things don't. Yeah, thank you. Doesn't apply to us. It applies to other countries. Us, as in Israel and America. Should African countries still be signed on to that?
Hypocrisy, my dear.
Thank you.
Hypocrisy amongst the world bodies. Same applies for ECOWAS courts. Okay, because these organizations have not even lived up to their billing, like I'm saying. So man has failed mankind. Humanity has been reduced to zero.
Thank you.
So we're at a very scary period of our lives where we need to be very, very careful.
Thank you.
Because at the slightest provocation, man is at the brink of self-extinction.
Thank you.
Therefore, that's what last year brought to my memories.
So quickly now, I need you to wrap up because the lines are going and we don't have much time left. What do you predict for this year? Thank you very much.
I believe, let me just hope and pray that the coming in of Trump, which of course I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, of course.
Let's pray and hope that there might be some changes. But as a Bible, somebody who has gone through the scriptures, the holy books, these are all fulfillments of Bible prophecies. I rest my case.
Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you. Stay listening. Right. Hello.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, good afternoon. Is that man? No, don't apologize. The line was free. Call back.
We're talking about the days before the war.
Which war? Which war? Which war?
That is the Russia-Ukraine war.
Russia-Ukraine, yes.
Yeah. I once told you that there are some institutions that sort of control the person in power. When at a point, Zelensky wanted to go into negotiation.
Yes, he did. That's where I was going. That's what I was going to say. Well, before that, let's even go back, Emmanuel, since you know these things and we're you and I are on the conference and nobody's calling right now. Remember when Angela Merkel, who I must confess, is my most favorite world leader of all time, personally for me. But when Angela Merkel was still the chancellor of Germany, remember, when NATO was still discussing about this Ukraine war, and Angela Merkel and France all wanted diplomatic solution. It was UK, Boris Johnson, and US who actually wanted to go to war. Do you remember?
Yeah, I know. You see, the NATO itself was created because of Russia. And today, even if Trump comes to power and said, he was only blabbing, saying that, he wasn't going to fund NATO. In fact, he would tell Russia to come and overrun some of the NATO countries, because they were not paying their dues. He said that at a point.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I think those institutions are going to tie Trump down. Systematically, it might not be directly. So, what we change, I think, I don't know if they are or they are just trying to be propagandists about it. I mean, Russia trying to say they have the sagacity, to challenge US today. But what will really change the world power is what Russia is doing.
Yeah.
But at the expense of humanity. Because humans are going to be sacrificed, on the altar, just for these power drunk people. That is why I'm saying I don't care if it's a superficial friendship, if it's a hypocritical friendship, or if it's a real friendship. I don't care. But I hope we find friends in Putin and Trump.
Thank you very much.
2025.
Thank you very much. So, Emmanuel, I'm glad he called back. You know, he triggered what I did want to say. And, you know, when people continue to blame Putin, Vladimir Putin, they forget that Vladimir Putin did not want to go to war. He said, look, he wanted, he wanted what's it called? He wanted a diplomatic solution to this. But of course, things fell apart that the center could not put together. And then he, what's it called? He ended up actually invading, bombing Ukraine, declared war. I have a message here from Stephen Ijaniki. It's on ECOWAS, Nigeria, Palava. He said, this is the time that Nigerian government needs real diplomatic and international relations. Experts, not political jobbers. Let us use our tongues to count our teeth. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. You can do that yourself. Firstly, it means that let's calm down. Firstly, I will advise our government to shelve any plans of undue closeness with France. These colonialists, particularly France, have not helped Africa. I praise Ivory Coast and other countries that are bold enough to take the bull by the horn. I wish we had a government that can take such steps instead of all these junk cutting and unnecessary globetrotting we have been seeing in the name of looking for investors and damaging our economy continuously. That's Steve Ofere from Ijaniki. Thank you, Steve. Whoever you were that were calling, you can call back. I will attempt to pick up your call. I have I still have about 5 minutes left or so. Oh, 3 minutes rather. 2 minutes, they say. 2 minutes I have left. Otherwise, we'll move on. And oh, okay. You got to be quick. Hello, you got to be quick. What's your name?
Hello, ma'am. Yeah, sorry. You mentioned my mom's name. Angela Merkel. She's my adopted mother.
I know. She's mine too. My adopted sister, actually. Thank you.
She's one of the best leaders in the 21st century. Mention her.
Absolutely.
Mention Madonna. Do you know what struck me most about her?
Yeah.
She said, you don't have to drive these people away.
Yeah.
They are human beings. Because they are coming here illegally does not mean you have to treat them like animals. They are humans like us. She
was an amazing.
So if you look at personality like that, that is why sometimes I tell you, reparation, no to reparation.
Yeah.
You know, everybody not talk about that as well. And I said it that if you're talking about reparation, who are the people who sold you to the Oyibo people in the first place? Were they not your fellow black people?
Yeah.
So who's going to collect money from them? And we have wonderful personality. Look at Angela Merkel.
Yeah.
I just love that woman.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, less than 3 years that she left, look at the big black.
Of course, Germany is in a mess. So the world is in a mess.
That shows you that some people are extraordinary, and I like that woman.
And I think, Titilopa, let me just say. Thank you. No, she's actually. I constantly pray for her. I just want her back because she was the one person that kept the world in check and kept them all down, calming down.
Look
Yeah.
at the way. Look.
Thank you, Titilope. Thank you.
One of the best in this century.
Well, we will do that. We will do a topic because I've got to go now for a couple of seconds. We will do a show for you to pick your favorite world leader. We will, and we will come up with the top 5. Thank you very much. We are going on a break now. My guest is Azu Ishekwene. I don't know if I'm pronounced it right. He's Senior Vice Chairman, Editor-in-Chief.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
This is it. The ultimate stage for young minds to battle it out.
The governors are above the law. They tend not to lean on to public participation.
Governors can make any decision without fear of
what remains of a person's identity if it's only measured by external.
The urgency to safeguard life should outweigh preserving cultural sites.
Auditions for the I Beg to Differ Secondary Schools Debate Tournament is on. Do you have the passion, the intellect, the fire that stand above the rest? Then prove it.
The hallmark of any thriving society is in its youth.
Study organization should be planned carefully into the data.
Standardized tests is a recipe for anxiety.
Prove you're the next great debater Nigeria has been waiting for. I Beg to Differ. Auditions open December 12, 2024 and close January 12, 2025. The clock is ticking. Visit www.nigeriainfo.fm now to register. I beg to differ. The Tournament of Champions.
Stay sharp, fuel up, and be on top of your game. Power Horse is here to boost your energy and conquer the day. Don't miss out on an unstoppable offer for Niger. You can now buy Power Horse 250 ml for just 999 naira. And for those who need a little extra, grab the 355 ml for only 1,299 naira. Don't wait. Head to the nearest store today and fuel.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.